And a correctional investigator found that CSC routinely classifies First Nations, Métis, and Inuit women as higher security than non-Aboriginal women. Aboriginal women are released later in their sentences than other prisoners, more likely to have their conditional release revoked for technical reasons, more so than others, and Aboriginal prisoners often do not receive timely access to rehabilitative programming and services. The Canadian legal system is a very foreign and inappropriate system, I believe, for the resolution of conflict within our communities. The difference in the Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal notions of justice can lead to misunderstandings of action and reactions of our people. It is a discrimination to expect people to act in a way that is contrary to their most basic beliefs. So it's a very foreign system to us. We have our own traditional ways and governing ways. And so I just want to touch a bit on criminalization of Aboriginal women. So Aboriginal women are overrepresented in the federal prison system. They represent about 3% of women in Canada, yet represent 32% of women in federal prisons. And this is stats from 2007. I don't know what the updated stats are. CSC does not meet its statutory obligations to ensure that the rights of Aboriginal prisoners to effective assistance and reintegrating into community. Social condition, we have faced the most racial discrimination of any group in Canada. Discrimination against Aboriginal people has been a central policy of the Canadian government since Confederation. Example, Indian Act, Bill C-31, residential school system, and the reserve system. Those are all examples. Violence against women is rarely understood as a human rights issue. We have a right as Indigenous women to be free and safe from all violence. We are not offered an adequate level of protection by state authorities, and I'm going to put that out there. Why is this still happening? So, as you know, you're all here, you're advocates. You know, why is this still happening to our women? In terms of Bill C-10, and then I'll wrap up. So in regards to Bill C-10, the mandatory minimum sentence provisions would guarantee an influx of prisoners to our provincial prisons. Our prisons are already overcrowded and would create an even larger backlog in our courthouses. In turn, would lead to higher costs to our province and citizens. A large number of our clients at Elisabeth Fry Toronto are Aboriginal women who unfortunately get caught up in the criminal justice system due to repercussions of colonization. Many of the women we serve are survivors of physical and sexual abuse. Our hope is to address these concerns through education, housing initiatives, and programs. This would be far more effective than sentencing. I'm sure you all agree. Consequences of the legislation would affect restorative justice, includes healing circles and family group conferences that date back to 1974. This would be compromised or even terminated. So Aboriginal Canadians would be hit hard if Bill C-10 is passed. Gladue Court, where judges are to exercise discretion and sensitivity to our history and herstory, would also be compromised. So some stats to think about before I close. 1 in 3 federally sentenced women are Aboriginal. Across the country, we are vastly overrepresented in certain charges. The gap between Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal offenders continues to grow, and it is said that the rate of Aboriginal incarceration in 2008 was 9 times than the national average. So with that, I would like to close. Some things to think about. Chi miigwech for your time and attention. Miigwech.
Thanks so much, Jules. Before I pass it on to Krista, I just wanted to, I couldn't help but think about Joey Twins, who I visited in Grand Valley Institution. I had the opportunity to go to a powwow there last week, and she so exemplifies what you're talking about. Not many people know, but she's Canada's longest serving female inmate, and she's been in prison for over 32 years. Like, who does that much time in prison? Aboriginal people. And it's because of exactly what Jules is talking about. There's a clash and a cultural clash and racism that continues on behind prison walls. So her ability to, qualify for parole is constantly being impacted by the kind of interaction she has with correctional officers and the kangaroo court that happens inside prison. She's been in there for over 32 years. Like, it's crazy. And unfortunately, when I was there, I saw a lot of really young faces too, who I was surprised. I guess they must have been 18, because it is a federal prison, but just looked very, very young. And it's really disturbing to me. If we are going to stop this, we're really going to have to concert our efforts. And I actually want to point out that tomorrow evening, just to answer what you're saying, why is this still happening? We're going to be talking about that. The silence is broken. We've started talking about a lot of these things. We've, been educating people, but it hasn't changed that the murders continue, that the violence against women continue. Today, we found out at the Missing Women Inquiry that 18 women's lives could have been saved if police had given a damn. That's blood on the police's hand and the RCMP's hand. 18 women died after Picton had already been, arrested, but released. So we have things to talk about tomorrow as well. And this government has taken the gloves off. We are faced with a very aggressive challenge from the Harper government, and I'm going to pass it on to Krista now.